Hello and welcome to another episode of the Doug Geiser Show, brought to you by the Ashland University Journalism and Digital Media Department. I'm Cade Krakus, and as usual, I'm joined by the head coach of the Eagle football team, Doug Geiser. Coach, thanks for sitting down with me here today.
I appreciate you having me.
Of course. Coach, this past weekend, your team fell to a highly competitive Tiffin squad, 55-30. So let's start things off by just talking about how the contest went for you guys.
Well, their offense got hot early, and you go into every single game on a Saturday, and you get a feel for what do you need to do today to win the game. Sometimes it's the defense getting a stop. Sometimes it's the offense having to win a shootout. Sometimes it's the special teams having to create some plays and some extra possessions on special teams. And on that game, with as hot as their offense got, we needed to be able to match their score with our offense, and we did not execute the way we needed to in the first half to put ourselves in a position to get in a shootout with them.
And when you take a look, you start the season 3 losses through 4 contests, but those 3 losses came to very, very highly competitive squads, very solid teams. Does that all lessen the blow to you guys?
No, I mean, a loss is a loss, a win is a win. And we did not find a way to finish the first 2 weeks, and we weren't able to match their offense and their fire on Saturday. So, as Bill Parcells said many, many years ago, you are what your record says you are. Now, we have a lot of skill, we have a lot of ability, and we have a chance to still be a really good football team, but we got to learn how to put that complete game together like we did against Hillsdale.
Wideout Desmond Libertus continues to be phenomenal. Another receiving touchdown this past week. Talk a little bit about his journey becoming an Eagle and how he's played this year.
Yeah, Des is originally from Bell Fountain, and his path took him to Ferris State, where he got a couple rings, but he was looking for a little bit more. And so he came as a graduate transfer, and he's been a great waiver wire pickup, so to speak, for us. He's brought a lot as far as a professionalism, experience on how to prepare to be a college football player and play at a high level. And he's obviously very, very talented. So he's found himself in the mix and been very, very crucial to our offense the whole year.
And now taking a look at the other side of the ball, we have to talk about the defense in this newly established safety duo of Bobby Young and Riley Weiss. I mean, talk a little bit about how they've come along this season and emerged into this starting role together.
Yeah, Bobby's a very cerebral player, and he knows the back end like the back of his hand, so to speak. And so he's good at getting guys in the right position. He studies a lot of tape. He understands the tendencies, and he can usually put himself in good situations to make plays. And then you have Riley. Riley is a tremendous, tremendous athlete. And Riley is from Tays Valley, down south of Columbus, down by Circleville. Came in originally as a walk-on. And, through his grit and through his determination, has now become a key starter for us. And so he's done a tremendous job for us, not only on defense, but also special teams.
And now we've covered offense and defense. Taking a look at the special teams side of things, it's something we haven't really talked about too much this year, but kicker A.J. Rhodes has started to progress very well throughout the season. A 41-yard field goal in the last contest against Tiffin. Talk a little about him.
Yeah, AJ's been very, very good for us throughout the year, and we're working a little bit more on some consistency with him, but he is tremendously skilled. He really, really works at his craft, and he has a chance to be a really, really good kicker before his career is end.
Outside of the players that we've talked about here today, are there any others that have stood out to you?
I would say kind of an unsung hero on offense right now is a guy who's playing a lot of different roles and wearing a lot of different hats, and that's Jake McLaughlin. Jake is kind of the Swiss Army knife for us on offense. Plays some receiver, plays some tight end, plays some hybrid, and oh, by the way, he's also on every single one of our special teams. So he's a captain for us. He got the most votes of from any of his peers to be a captain, and he's been a great leader for us, especially early in the part of the season when we've encountered some adversity.
Heading into this coming week against Ohio Dominican, what are some things you guys think you need to work on so far?
The biggest thing we need to work on is us. We need to, yesterday, you dissect the film, you find out, where those mistakes were and what needs to get better, whether it's execution, whether it's communication, whether it's alignment. And we made sure not only to correct those by talking about it and on the chalkboard, but also on the field yesterday, which we usually don't do on a Sunday. But after yesterday, we closed the book on that. And now we as coaches, today is our planning day, this Monday. And so we're not only looking at ODU as far as their scheme and as far as what they do, but also how do we incorporate the things we do best and, oh, by the way, correct the mistakes so those don't show up again next week.
Yeah, when you take a look at this ODU squad, I mean, we've talked about a lot of players that you guys have. Is there anyone that stands out for ODU that you guys are going to be preparing for?
I would say they're on their defense, their overhang safety / nickel linebacker, Dimitri Mitsopoulos, is a really good football player, probably the best player in their defense. They have an inside linebacker, Mike Powers from Marysville. He's a tremendous player. And then up front, they're probably led by their defensive end, Eddie Miller-Garrett. So they are a physical football team. That's the way Coach Cummings coaches, which is, it's the right way to coach. and they pride themselves on being able to stop the run on defense and running the ball on offense. So any preparation we have this week has to start in those two areas.
And then do you think your team will come out with a bit of fire under their belts after this loss this past weekend?
I sure hope so, yes.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining me.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Cade.
It's time to take a look at another piece of your team, and that's running back Larry Martin. Martin will discuss the electrifying play of the running back room, what it's like to fight his way downfield, and how the team is feeling after the loss. You're watching the Doug Geiser Show on AUTV. Welcome back to the Doug Geiser Show. Now I'm joined by running back Larry Martin. First off, thank you for joining me here today.
It's my pleasure.
Well, taking a look at this past weekend, the loss against Tiffin, how are the guys feeling?
We're feeling pretty good. You know, we're ready to get that loss off our back, and we're looking for a big quality win against ODU.
When taking a look at your stat line, eight carries on the ground, 120 yards, I mean, what really led to your success?
Coming back after halftime, we knew we were down. We knew we needed to score some points. Trusting my aiming points, trusting my line, trusting everybody on the offensive side to help me out so I can make the right reads, make the right cuts, and help our team score some points.
And obviously, it's very known that you have a really good 1-2 punch with Giovanni Washington. I mean, what's the chemistry like between you two?
That's my best friend. We're all really close in the running back room, along with Eli and Pat. We're always working on the field and off the field. We're always looking for ways we can help each other with our games. We're both two different running backs, so I ask him what I can get help on. And he asked me the same. Every time we come off the field, it's real competitive, but it's really good.
When you take a look at the running back position as a whole, I mean, there's a lot of responsibilities there, blocking, receiving, and running. I mean, for you, what makes you thrive?
It's a good gig, knowing that the offense trusts me to not only catch the ball, but run the ball, make the right reads, make a big play here and there, score some touchdowns. It's an awesome gig.
And when you take a look at off-the-field preparation, what do you guys do as a running back room?
Film study. I've watched so much film over these past years, and it just makes me a smarter football player, looking for tendencies, looking at my aiming points, knowing where I'm going to hit the hole and possibly make a big play.
So we've talked about you and your kind of running back room together. What coaches have really led to the success?
Over my tenure here, Coach Owens, obviously, he gave me the platform to showcase my skills, help the team win. Coach Geiser, he's always pushed me on and off the field to be not only a great football player, but a better man. Coach Nikolai, he's made me a smarter football player. And also my teammates. They make sure I don't get too high. They don't make sure I don't get too low. So.
And then moving forward, how's the team looking against ODU this weekend?
We're looking really good. We know have a really good defense, a stingy defense. So we're anxious to get back on track and get a big quality win.
Well, I appreciate you joining me here today.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck this weekend against Ohio Dominican. When we return, we'll check in with Coach A.J. Nikolai, who coaches the running backs, kickers, punters, serves as the team's video coordinator, and runs the team's social media. We've got a lot to unpack, and we'll be joining you back here shortly. You're watching the Doug Geiser Show on AUTV. Welcome back to the Doug Geiser Show. Now I'm joined alongside Coach Nikolai. Coach, this past weekend against Tiffin, the running back room seemed to be flowing at their best rate this season. What attributed to their success on the field?
Larry did a good job of talking about it. They watch a ton of film together. Us in the running back room, we really try and keep it as simple as possible. Hitting aiming points, following blocks, making cuts, simple cuts, and getting vertical and running. They do that every week, and this week, they were really able to just, capitalize on it and get moving.
When you take a look at their performance, how do you consider them to keep this momentum moving forward?
Yeah, just consistency. That's the big word, football, right? Offensively, we just got to be consistent, right? Same thing in the running back room, consistently hitting all those aiming points, kind of doing everything that they've been doing, just, try and take it to another level and keep going.
And for Martin specifically, 120 yards on the ground, he was electrifying this past week and really started to kind of flourish. What led to that?
Larry's one of the hardest workers, on the team. He's one of the best leaders on the team. He shows up every single day going to work, right? It's not really a surprise that, he's able to get loose and kind of get going, have a really good game like that. But it's not surprising at all. He's watching film all the time, always asking really good questions, about scheme, about, this or that, whatever it is. And he was able to really get going, so I was really happy for him.
And it's obvious you guys have a really strong backfield duo of Washington and Martin. I mean, what are they like in the locker room and on the field together?
Oh, they're two peas in the pod. I mean, you look at them on the roster. Larry's more the power back, as you may want to say, and Gio's more the scat back. But they're really interchangeable. They are. Gio's able to short yardage situations, able to run the ball. Larry, same thing. You see him break a long 60-yard run. Get hawked at the 1-yard line. We won't talk about that anymore. But they're interchangeable. They know exactly what they're doing on every single play, and it's really nice to have that as a coach.
And what is the training like for the running backs?
We really work on the simple things, the little things, right? You come to a Ashland football practice, you're going to see the running back individual drills. We're working footwork. We're working ball security. We're working cuts, making decisions. Just, I want them to play free, make decisions. Once they make a decision, they go. So that's pretty much it.
And you also play a big part in the kicking and the punting. What's that like?
Well, I had quite the illustrious career as a college football player. I was a kind of a receiver and then a quarterback, and then I was also the kicker for my alma mater. So, when I came here, nobody really knew that I actually played football at one point. I'm pretty sure because all my stats were just as a kicker. So, naturally when I got here, Coach Owens at the time just said, I don't want to coach kickers anymore. That's what you're for. So I said, perfect. So I've gotten a great chance to really build a good relationship with our current kicker, AJ Rhodes, and then we also moved quarterback, Jaden Cook, to punter, and he's doing a great job, been able to really help us on that side of it too. So it's an interesting gig working with kickers because each kicker is different in their own way, and you got to kind of figure out how to get on their level and really coach them. But it's been a lot of fun.
And Coach Geiser also mentioned to me that you help run the social medias. So what's that like, and what kind of your functions entail?
Well, I should get virtually no credit for that. I am the I'm in charge of it. I have some great foot soldiers that do all the the nitty gritty work, and I get to have the little title next to my name and get all the glory and all that stuff. But Mike Hopkins, he's a student here, is doing all of our video stuff. So all that video, pregame hype videos, all that stuff from camp all the way to right now in the season is all him. He's doing an unbelievable job. And then I've had one of our current offensive linemen, Jacob McCabe, has been helping me make graphics and all that stuff. So, we've been able to kind of, as the three of us, get everything together, as well as, working with the university and all that stuff too. But it's been a pretty good couple of months here for our social media. I think it's really, really improved and really helped us out, as a program for recruiting and all that good stuff.
And also for potential aspiring coaches, I mean, we've talked about so many different things that you're involved with and you help with. I mean, how do you manage your time in all these scenarios?
Yeah, as my first college coaching job, I was in charge of everything, including the kitchen sink. So the one thing I will tell any aspiring coach is get as much experience and have as many responsibilities as you possibly can, because now I come to a place like Ashland here where I actually don't have as many responsibilities here as I did in my previous coaching job. So it makes it easier for me, but then I'm also able to lend my voice or help out where it's needed with any other of coaches on our staff or support staff members, just because I've had such a great experience throughout my 3-4 years here coaching and doing all kinds of different stuff.
And now back to the task at hand. I mean, what's the keys to success this coming week?
Yeah, Coach Geiser, he talks about it. We got to be able to establish the run consistently. That's, something that Ashland has, hung their hat on for the last, 20 years here, right? And really probably longer than that. That's just about as old as I am. But, being able to play complementary football, help our defense out, put points on the board. I'm an offensive guy through and through. I want to score as many points as humanly possible every single week. We talked to the running backs about, hey, we got to create explosive plays, right? Explosive plays are one of the, number probably in the top keys to offensive success, right? We were able to, this past week, from the running back room, have some really big explosive plays, right? Not enough, but, we just got to keep building on that and keep going this week.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you sitting down with me, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Now it's time to wrap up the show with Coach Geiser as we take a look at the current season standings and the rest of the schedule. Coach will join us after these brief messages. You're watching the Doug Geiser Show on AUTV. Welcome back to the Doug Geiser Show, right here on AUTV. Coach, it's been great to talk with you here today, but before we go, let's take a look at the current standings and what we can expect in the coming weeks. First off, we're finally back in conference play, 2 weeks gone by now, starting off with a win and then a loss. How are things looking for you guys?
Well, obviously we'd like to be 2-0 like Tiffin, Findlay, and Kentucky Wesleyan, but we are 1-1 in the league, and we still have a chance to go out and get our second win this next week against ODU.
So you talked about a couple of those teams towards the top of the table, but how are you feeling as a whole with the Great Midwest Athletic Conference?
It's a very competitive conference, a lot of natural in-state rivalries that have been there for many, many years. So, ODU is another one of those rivalries, and Findlay will be later on in the year as we go along. So it's been fun in that respect, rekindling those rivalries by coming into the GMAC.
And now taking a look at the schedule, are there any upcoming contests we should have circled outside of the one coming this week against ODU?
I'm not sure of any other one other than ODU.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time. Are there any final thoughts for the audience out there?
Well, hey, we'll look to rebound this week and bring some of the pride and the fury back to the Ashland Eagles that we might not have played with this past week. So, we'll look to hold our end of the bargain and play like a traditional Ashland team this next week.
Well, I appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
That was today's episode of the Doug Geiser Show. With the Eagles falling to the Tiffin Dragons on the road 55-30, they look to bounce back against the Ohio Dominican Panthers this coming weekend. The outing is set for Saturday, September 30th, with kickoff set for 1 p.m. on the road. The game can be found by heading over to goashlandeagles.com and checking out the links alongside the contest on the football schedule tab. I'm Cade Krakus, and thank you for tuning into the Doug Geiser Show right here on AUTV.